One of the big questions about the Nintendo Switch was whether Nintendo and its partners were going to be able to sustain a AAA catalog over the course of its first year, and that answer, I think, has been yes. We've been able to play some good games this year. The latest is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This is a collaboration between Ubisoft and Nintendo, and this is kind of the first of its kind, with Ubisoft and Nintendo, integrating their characters, the beloved Rabbids from Ubisoft. Some people love them more than others. Sometimes they can get annoying, which is one of their core concepts and their core conceits. But the Mario characters, I think, have endured because they are incredibly versatile and also incredibly lovable. And here is another game that kind of challenges how versatile those Mario characters and the Mushroom Kingdom characters can be. This is a turn-based strategy game, and people have called this XCOM for Fisher-Price kids or something like that. And absolutely, there are elements in this game that evoke some tried and true Sid Meier crafted mechanics in there, which is kind of interesting to see. It was a surreal experience to see this game demoed just mere months ago for the very first time on the stage at E3. Anybody that's seen that press conference can recall how emotional that moment was, because the developers that were working over in France got to talk about their love for Miyamoto, and Miyamoto was up on stage with Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft. So it was a cool, magical moment. And what was so interesting, and what we always sort of strive for out of E3, are those cool surprises, and that absolutely qualifies as one of them. It was also a human surprise and a human moment, but, we had to see whether the game was going to be good or not. I enjoyed my playthrough at E3. I thought, yeah, Ubi and Nintendo are onto something here. I am a big XCOM fan, though. I really enjoy that franchise, and so I was looking forward to this game with super high expectations, mostly because after that sort of reveal, I got a hands-on demo and enjoyed it. And I'm happy to report that I love this game. I think this game is tons of fun. It certainly is a slow title, slower than most Mario games, I think, that have been built. Even the RPG games move along at a sort of a quicker pace than this. But you need that slowness. You need that time to kind of consider your actions and consider your choices. And like XCOM, the height on the playing field sort of makes a difference with the way you strategize, taking out each of your characters. The way that this thing all sets up is basically you pick a team, and in the single-player campaign, you get a team of 3. If you play it in cooperative play, you get a team of 2, and your colleague gets a team of 2. But you don't have many characters to manage, and occasionally you will be joined by other characters that you'll either have to escort or will actually help you out in battle. And basically what you're doing in this game is leveling up and powering up your characters with new abilities, like the ability to slide under an enemy and hurt them as you're dashing through them, or you can butt bounce on their heads and take some hit points off that way. But most of what you're doing in this game is battling enemies and then collecting the coins that you can then spend on better ammunition and better munitions, better weaponry. You actually have a pretty cool arsenal in here. You've got rocket launchers and hammers and shotguns and long-range guns. And you can kind of see how this plays out. Some of the characters have this ability that you take your turn after you've shot your weaponry or you've manipulated your character to where you want them on the map. If you're playing as the Mario character, you can have them have this hero shot, which will blast at anybody that moves on the enemy side if it's within range of Mario. So there's lots of these little side abilities. There's the ability to travel along the grid outlines that are presented for you. You have a tactical map, so you can pull the camera right up and you can kind of isolate on each of the characters and you can see how far they progress. Each of the characters has their own skills and weapons and stuff, so you basically are starting to learn how they all play together, and you can mix and match the team before every battle. And there actually is a tremendous amount of strategy in here, and there are absolutely some choke points in the difficulty as well, which is a little problematic, but is also to be expected in a strategy title like this. Now, I recognize that a lot of players that are, rabid fans, no pun intended, of Nintendo games may not have dipped into the XCOM pool, but it's actually pretty easy to kind of figure out. Basically, you have grids, not unlike, Final Fantasy Tactics or Advance Wars or Fire Emblem. You have grids that you have to follow along. You adjust where your character is going to go. That's basically a turn, but you can move, you can shoot, or you can throw a grenade if you've got grenades. Then you can activate your sort of side ability, and then that character's kind of role in that team turn is done, and then it's moved over to another one of your characters. And you also have some pretty cool abilities to kind of do team jumps and stuff as well, which will actually clear any weird maladies that your other character might have. It might be stuck in honey or have ink all over its head. If you do a team jump off of that character, it will clear that, so that's incredibly useful. But they can also help the character that you're playing jump further into the map, which is also incredibly useful. So you're dealing with all of these tiny little details that add up to something that's very impressive, very addictive, but that's not all that you get in this game, because this is, a Nintendo game with some Mario magic in it. You've got to run around with your characters between your matches, and you have all of these different puzzle sections to solve where you're moving blocks or moving statues, activating levers, using pipes, which also come into play on the battlefield as well, but pipes to kind of get you from one secret area to another secret area. There are also what I call these Metal Gear Solid sort of Tron-like mini missions where you're collecting coins, blue coins, and you're unlocking chests, and there's, music to unlock, artwork to unlock, but also cool weapons and 3D statues and things like that. And I was totally hooked. Certainly, the pace of the game gives you moments of introspection, and as you're watching these cute, weird cutscenes with Mario characters turned into Rabbids character, there are some contemplative moments where you're like, what am I doing with my life? I'm all alone playing this game, and it's so bizarre. But it gets its hooks into you. The originality of this title, even though there are other great strategy games out there, there's been nothing made with this kind of level of zany with characters like this that's so, I think, expertly crafted as well. You can really see the building blocks for where we can go with this. I think this is going to be the first of a franchise. We know that there are already some DLC plans for it, and that they totally make sense. You can see how you could take some of these core gameplay conceits and spin them out and add to them. We've got cooperative play in here, which is super fun, but it isn't hard to imagine a pretty cool, multiplayer versus kind of mode in here as well, with more than 2 players actually. That's not available yet, but you do get amiibo support. There's about 32 different maps that you're going to be dealing with. There are boss fights, and they take a long time. It takes you a while to kind of navigate through these things. At first, you've got a pretty generous, pretty easy learning curve that will sort of give you the basics. But yes, as you progress into this game, it becomes incredibly challenging, and you get hooked on it. And then it's one of those types of games where you go to sleep and you're thinking, I could probably try this and that, which is the sign of a great game. You're still playing it in your mind, even though you're not playing it. And, the beautiful thing about this title, obviously, is on the Switch, so you can bring it with you everywhere, and its turn-based nature means that you don't have to be kind of focused on it all the time, which is great when you're, out in public with the Switch. And you can also take off a controller and share it with somebody and play the game. And God, this is wonderful stuff. It's a great surprise. We don't often get a Nintendo-branded mega game like this that's revealed just months before it's available. Literally, we found out about this game in June, and here it is in August, and we're able to play it. I recommend you do. If you've got the Switch, this is a great pickup. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.